we learn today of yet another serious data leak, this time affecting the SAS. Is the Ministry of Defence fit for purpose?
Well, the Chief of the General Staff is conducting now his own inquiry into what went wrong. He will let that happen, and then he will make recommendations about what needs to follow. As I understand it, that data is no longer available. It clearly should never have been available online in the first place. I think rather than speculating, I'll wait to see what the Chief of the General Staff has to say when he's conducted his review.
But what does it say about the Ministry of Defence that things like this keep happening? It's clearly not working, is it? Something needs to be done more fundamentally.
There's clearly a profound problem, and clearly something needs to be done. But what that something is, we'll discover through the review that the head of the army is leading right now.
These are the people, Secretary of State, who are supposed to be in charge of our most significant national secrets and keep us all safe. They can't even keep their own data safe. Can the public have confidence in the Ministry of Defence? Do you?
Of course I do, but we need to understand what has gone wrong in this case.
Would you have confidence? Right. Would you have confidence in them with your data?
Of course I do. There's something that has gone very wrong in this case. It seems to be a problem that has been going wrong for quite a long time. As I said, I don't think it's sensible for me to speculate. We're talking about matters here of national security. I think it's right to leave it to the head of the army to let his review be completed so we can find out exactly what's gone wrong and fix it.
Do you think that the British government, any British government, should ever again take out a superinjunction for any length of time to prevent a story which is clearly in the public interest from being reported? As a parliamentarian, as a Secretary of State, you know how crucial it is that Parliament is kept informed about what is going on. That superinjunction prevented that from happening. Should it ever happen again?
It's very difficult to anticipate every single possible circumstance.
It never happened before.
That might be there in the future. What happened when this government was elected was the Defence Secretary John Healey, within weeks, launched a review into this particular superinjunction. We just got the findings of that recently. It showed that the risk level was far lower, and therefore...
So why was it taken out in the first place?
Well, that's right. So, it's been lifted. The public can now see what's been going on, and the select committees in the House of Commons will be looking into this to see what and why and how this happened. And again, we'll need to wait and see what they've got to say about that.
Do you think that it sits comfortably within our tradition, our parliamentary tradition? We had the Speaker of the House of Commons, who is supposed to be the custodian of our democracy, being served by government officials with a superinjunction preventing him from doing his job. In other countries, we would say that was deeply, deeply uncomfortable and is not compatible with democratic traditions. Are superinjunctions compatible with our democracy?
I think it was the previous government that put this superinjunction in place, and I think there should always be a presumption towards openness in a democracy. I can't anticipate, as I said, every single potential circumstance in the future, but it does seem that there are questions to answer about this one. They will be asked and they will be answered through the work that the select committees will be doing. They're cross-party. They operate in the public eye in the House of Commons, so we will see what they have to say about that. But there are concerns, you're quite right, and I share those concerns.
Let's talk to someone, actually, we don't hear enough from the voice of Afghans in all of this, and let's talk to Shukria Barakzai, who is the former Member of Parliament in Afghanistan, also former Afghan ambassador to Norway. Ms. Barakzai, thanks so much for joining us on the show this morning. What was your reaction when you learned about the data leak?
Thank you for having me. First of all, I do appreciate what exactly was your points of view about it. Democracy, rule of law is not about secrecy, is not about superinjunction. It is about accountability and clarity. It's about being honest and keeping promises, how it was been made. Law is above every single institution. And again, thanks to the judiciary system, because they step forward and they take a decision and they try to put everything on place, although a bit late. When it comes to the lives of people, when it comes to the lives of Afghan, when it comes to how those Afghans put their life in danger just for the sake of their country and including the British or the United Kingdom in general, their national interest inside of Afghanistan, it shouldn't be thrown away. It shouldn't be considered as a part of dirty politics to be deal on it. We are talking about lives. We are talking about security. We are talking about promises that was been made. And such action and such a leakage where put hundreds of thousands of life in danger, not only their member family, but probably the second and third circle of their family. We shouldn't undermine those soldiers that almost for 20 years fight with the group. Today, that group of Taliban are leading the country, and they have the full power and authority to punish the way they want to do. And that's why we can see a large number of casualty in that case, which is nobody wants to talk about it. Even if you see the number on the list and the number that their application was being proceed, it's again a huge differences between those numbers. And to be honest, I'm not happy about that, but I'm optimistic that rules of law should be above everything, and those political promises was been made by United Kingdom. They should stick on that.
Of course, the British government did execute a policy response to the breach after some pressure from the court, and that did involve the invitation or the bringing to the UK of at least 6,900 Afghans affected by the breach, people who would not have been invited to the UK, who have been invited as a result of it. Is that enough?
Well, when it comes to the number, it's not enough. It's even not a quarter of what the people are at risk at the moment. But when you see as a baby steps, yes, it could be satisfactory decision. But we don't know how long those procedures may take place. And what about those people that they are on the top of the list, hated list by Taliban? I believe no one should be punished for the commitment they made. No one should be punished for working with the British or NATO or other countries' military and non-military organization. And no one life should be thrown in the ocean and not be counted as a human being just for the sake of type of jobs they had. And to be honest, let's say if British is so expensive for them, they could find another safe passage for them. The world is so big. British can find a way if they think United Kingdom is not the best place for their ex-friends that they fight with them shoulder to shoulder to be. But it's also very unfair to put their life at risk and let them to be die just for the sake they work under the flag of United Kingdom.
The British government, one of the reasons we now know about this breach is because the Defence Secretary held a review. And the review concluded that if the Taliban were to obtain this data set, that it wouldn't be as big of a problem as had previously been assessed. Do you agree with that? Do you think that this data set, now it's out there, or the knowledge of it is ubiquitous, do you think that it will be a problem for those on the list? Do you think the Taliban could use it to try and effect reprisals?
Well, when it comes to revenge, no one is taking worse type of revenge except Taliban. And this is how we've been witnessed. When it comes to Taliban are more a bit softer now, their policies, it's not really true. That's why we can see more than 8 million people Afghan flee Afghanistan after Taliban seized power. It's not because they like to go somewhere, it is because they must go. So that's why and there's a no pardon apology. There is a sugarcoat, let's say, a pardon statement when Taliban seized power, but this one never implemented. As you can see, the United Nations reports, Human Special Envoy on the Human Rights in Afghanistan, Richard Bennett, they all the time was claiming those unlawful arrestment, killing, and beside of everything, Taliban are not feeling that they are accountable for them. This is more than enough that someone was standing against them. Even the simple example could be the women of Afghanistan. When they stand and ask and seek for the rights of education, Taliban punished them, raped them, put them on jail. Some of them was been disappeared. Some of them was been killed. So if just for the simple rights they ask, they could show such a brutal way of punishment. Guess for those who militarily fight against them and kill their soldiers and their feet soldiers, what will be the punish for them? Unbelievable. Harsh.
What do you think, Ms. Barakzai, what do you think that the view is now of the UK in Afghanistan? I mean, our countries were deeply involved for many years. We obviously had so many Afghans who worked with the British Armed Forces over a 20-year period, Britain's longest war. Obviously, we've had this story, but there have been other stories as well. What do you think the general view is of the United Kingdom and our role now?
Well, I will give you two examples. Number one, they shut down the embassy of Afghanistan, which is the ambassador pass credential to the late Queen. But the
Ministry of
FCDO,
Defense.
FCDO closed and asked that your term was been determined. All right. So this is one example. Just because the Taliban asked the British government to close our embassy and hand over to them. So yet it's not been handed over, but they dismiss all the diplomats, which is against the Geneva Convention. It's just one example. The second example, the appetite for the British government to be engaged with the Taliban is more higher than them to be engaged with the democratic force or to look after their former friends and colleagues. These two examples can show clearly that their official position, they are like shifting. Sometimes they say, yes, we are supporting, for instance, the case of ICG, where again, under CEDAW Convention, the elimination of all kinds of violence against women. This is one of the international convention to hold Taliban accountable. This is what Britain are supporting. On the other side, they are trying to support Taliban as well in the ground inside of Afghanistan because they think there's no alternative for the Taliban. And it's really pretty sad to understand these days the Western policies. If they think extremist group could be a good friend and a reliable partner for them, then why they fight for 20 years?
And just briefly, and finally, have we discharged the debt? We had British politicians for many years say we owed many Afghans a profound debt for the assistance they provided to us. Have we met and honoured that debt, the United Kingdom?
None. No.
None?
They haven't met. No. They haven't taken care. They haven't asked. Even they didn't try to reach them out. No.
Shukria Barakzai there, a former member of parliament in Afghanistan. There is no such body now, of course, or certainly not one that's worth a candle. An ambassador for the country to Norway.